Yes, again, welcome, Nicolette.
Yeah,
And we'd love to hear more about your journey, your big journey.
yeah,
And I've been watching it from the sidelines, following you on Polar Steps, and see what you have been doing,
yeah,
on a daily basis. And for me, that's really something that is incredible. So I love to hear more.
yeah,
So the floor is
yeah.
yours.
Yeah, so maybe a bit of background. I'm Dutch, but have been living in the UK for 16 years. I was just thinking it's going to be 17 next year, of which about 9 years on the coast near Brighton. And I've been career coaching and midlife retirement coaching the last bit for the last 10 years, but yeah, since 2003 in that field. And as in everybody's life, in my life happened quite a lot of things. I'm 57, lost my parents, and this actually December, 4th year anniversary from my dad, and then in January from my mom. Personal things over the summer has happened. And I had always in the back of my mind, I wanted to have some time to myself, just to rethink things over and just literally have time to myself. And 2 years ago, we've got family in Spain. We actually traveled the northern coast of Spain, and we ended up in Santiago de Compostela on that square. And I actually spoke to some people who walked the Camino. And it's very interesting. I'm not sure if everybody knows, but you have the Santiago de Compostela. The Camino is the one from Jean-Pierre de Poix, I think, if I say correctly, that goes all the way over the Pyrenees to Santiago. That's the original, most famous route. But when you speak to people, who say I've walked the Camino, that can be anything because you get your credentials in the church and the blessings after having done a minimum of 100 kilometers. So you meet actually quite a lot of people who've done 120, 150. Some people don't have more time, so fair enough. But it's interesting that when you start talking about it, that when people have done a Camino, I always ask, so which one have you walked? Because then I found out on that square, they're actually the Portuguese. There's one from Coruña. It starts actually in the UK. I've done part of that. There's the north. I did the north coast, which Inge will show you a map in a sec. The French one, there's one from Seville. And somehow it's like there are more and more routes which all lead to the same place, Santiago de Compostela. And I spoke with a German guy. He had his backpack, and I asked him. He said, he walked to the French, and he said, but if I can give you some tips, he said, I would do the northern route. So it always stuck in my mind. And 2 years later, no, a year later, I actually started thinking about it. Okay, I'm going to do it. And then I planned it to do it this year. So I left on the 5th of September by train from London to Paris, Paris to Haidé, and then to San Sebastian. And that's where I started my Camino. And I'm one of the Camino's pilgrims who loves to walk, but I don't like to share bedrooms. So basically, if you walk a Camino, most people stay in so-called auberges. And that's a very cheap way of doing it. Think about 15 euros a night. Or you have the donativos, where you can donate what you can miss. That's the old-fashioned way, and that's nice, but I thought I need my energy. So I booked basic hotels, but I made sure that at least I had my own bed and I had my own bathroom, so to speak. And I did carry my own stuff. So maybe if you don't mind putting up the route, so that gives people a bit of an idea. So this is not a route for all the routes, but you can see the red one, the one in the top. So Irun is the official start. I started one stop after that in San Sebastian. And so I did the whole coastal route to Santiago. And then you see Finisterre, that's actually the official, well, official, that's where they found St. James. That's the official ending if you want to continue afterwards. But most people, like myself, stop in Santiago after visiting the massive cathedral there. And then you see Leon below, the green one. That's the one which is the most famous one. And have people seen the movie The Way? I see. Okay, Clara, Patty. Okay, I had not. I've heard about it, but I had not seen it. It's with Martin Sheen and also James Nibbis. What's his name? The Irish guy. So anyway, that movie, it's from 2011. That actually put the Camino on the map, and that's the green one. So you can leave that, Ingo. You can take it away. Yeah. So basically, that is the most famous one, and
Can
give
I
you a bit of an
maybe ask a
idea.
question, Nicolette?
Yeah.
Or if you're going to mention it, that's okay.
Oh no, you can ask questions if
What
people
is
want to ask
the
something. Yeah.
what is the origin of the original story of the Camino? What is it?
Oh well, no, that's a good one. So original story is the pilgrimage for religious reason to go on foot all the way to Santiago. And I think if I'm correct, I looked it up in 2027 because I had I'm not religious, let me tell it firsthand. So I did not walk for religious reasons. But that the cathedral there in Santiago, there's where the tomb is as well, with St. James or St. Jacob, or St. James. No, different, obviously, names for it. And that's so in 2027, they showed me there's a special door. He was beheaded, but because he was a saint, you never see him without a head. But that's not, you can't do that. So he was beheaded, but you never will see him without a head, if that makes sense. But so every, I think 6 years, 6, 7 years, there's a like so in 2027, they expect like almost a double amount doing this, because then the also very religious people walk, because then the special doors are open for entrance into the cathedral. I don't know all the religious backgrounds, but that's its original. And then the Primitivo, you saw that on the map, is a little bit down from Oviedo. That is the oldest way that people walked. That's through the mountains. And people came by boat. The pilgrims come over land. So that's why you have so many routes leading all to Santiago. And I think it was mainly done for religious reason. I think the way put it on the map for more people. So this is about a guy, his father. So the way is Martin Sheen plays a father who lost his son, who was walking the Camino. And then when he picks up his ashes, he decides to walk it. And then he meets people, Joost from the Netherlands, who wants to lose weight. He meets someone with a writer's block and a lady who wants to stop smoking. And the funny thing is, in the end, which I find very actually strong, she did not give up smoking and he did not lose weight. It's not all about that. It's very, very interesting to see how people come with a goal, but it's not all about that. And that's the same for me. I want a time for myself, because everybody asks each other on the Camino, why are you doing this? And there are people, I met a lady who just split up, people in between roles. So I've had quite some career coaching conversations, funny enough. Quite a lot of people who are young, so think about mid-20s, and quite a lot of people my age and older. And the people in between are, I think, can't do it because obviously they have careers, families, different time of their lives. And people also do it in different ways. I'm not judging. I did it, I walked 803K, which is 512 miles. Some people walk only a week, then go back, come back and do another week. I think that's a pity because it really makes a difference if you walk for 5 weeks in a row, or if you come and chip in and chip out. But as I said, people decide how and when they want to walk a Camino. But it does something to your mind. And I think that's also with a pilgrimage. It's not that suffering, I don't think is the right term for me. But you go through uncomfortableness, and as I wrote before on LinkedIn in my post, if it rains, yeah, I get up, put on my backpack, and I go. There are people who take trains or buses. Again, people's decision. But I also want to feel the uncomfortableness because I feel I've signed up to this, and I want to actually walk to the end. If you can't walk for whatever reason, obviously that's for everyone. And what I found very interesting is because you have only one goal, it's from A to B. And it does something to your mind. After a week, I really felt like you could well, see more clearly is maybe not the right term. But give an example, I wrote every day a text message to my husband to say that I was safe in my next hotel. And by doing so, I always sent him a flower, which I saw along my trail, and it was every day another flower. So for me, it was very much starting to look also different to nature, and trying to spot the most beautiful flower or the most special flower, see the animals, hear the birds. I always started around 8:30, just before daylight. And you get in a sort of rhythm, and it really calms your mind, but it also gives you time to look inwards. That makes sense. And it was very interesting to see after 1 week, well, actually more than 1 week, I would say 10 days, I finally really felt like I'm calm. And then I started giving myself little tasks, a day about gratitude. The 2nd of October was my dad's birthday. So I spent the whole day thinking about him. What was his role? What do I miss most? What would I like him to tell him? And it was really nice because it was a beautiful day. Yeah, it was very nice to be able to do that. Because I always think about him on his birthday, but then it's like an hour and then you do your chores or something else. And that was actually really nice to do. So I really felt at the end of it calm, rested, appreciative of my body, dare I say, because we all get older. And when you look in the mirror, you see wrinkles, or you focus, at least I did, very much on the things you can't do, or you feel you can't do anymore, or you feel you're too old. I can tell you, I was one of the fastest walkers with my backpack. I had only 1 blister, no muscle pain. I think, well, actually, so I'm actually very proud of my body. So that it's quite an interesting, yeah, how that can change your and I'm 3 weeks back now, and it's still in that mindset. And also the simplicity of life. I struggle being back, that I've got so much choice in my wardrobe. Supermarkets I find horrible. I already hate that the fact with all this music around in cafes and restaurants. So my task for myself is now, okay, try to find places where it's not noisy. And I find that very hard to adjust to, because it's the simple life. I really love it. And I could have walked on seriously after 5 weeks, because I was in that zone. And also you meet people. The nice thing, give you a bit of an idea, the Frances has 250,000 people walking it. Now, I don't know if that are people who do the whole way or just part of it, because when you are in Santiago and speak to people, quite a lot of people have done just 10 days or 2 weeks, but that's also for time reasons. But the one I did is 20,000. So when our routes merge, you have 2 days you walk on the same path as of the fronts. And I did that as well. I walked 2 days in one, because you come from a very peaceful, very actually deserted part from the northern route. Suddenly you hit the city where you all come together, and it's got different dynamics. It's loud, sometimes a bit, can I say, groups party modus. And the northern routes, quite most of the time, I think almost all the time, I saw or pairs or single people walking. And that's quite interesting to see. And as Dara said, a lot of people do it for spiritual reasons, religious reasons, but there are also a lot of people who do it because they can. And I've heard, I saw quite a lot of Asian people that were actually from Korea. It's a thing to put on your CV now. And I thought, oh my God, this is, I don't think, where the Camino should be, between brackets, say something maybe not the right used for. So I think I did the right route. I would never do the French route. After, actually, I would love to do the Portuguese one, which I'm gonna hopefully do with my husband one day, but I will avoid the very popular one. And that's a pity, because it's also a very beautiful route. But I also hear from people, we've got family in Spain, that in Santiago in the summer, it's like almost like a, I'm not sure if everybody knows the Nijmeegsvierdaagse. It's almost like party town when they're finished. And that is not where it's about, at least according to me. That's So there's a very nutshell, a little bit my story, and it's interesting. I met people from Australia, the United States, Ireland, Asia. It's very interesting how it's like the pilgrimage people want to walk. It's quite, because you can do so many walks. You can also walk from Canterbury to Rome, but somehow this one, I don't know, it relates with people. Like if I've done that, or if I want to set my challenge, or I want to break away for a while, that's what people choose. And because you have the auberges, it's also feasible for people with on a low budget. So I was wondering, I'm digging in here, and I think Clara knows quite a lot about it. Have you walked part of it, or have you walked one, Clara?
No, but I know quite a few people, very good friends that have. I have a friend that's actually doing it now.
Ah,
Some of the mothers and people who were part of our mothers group from my son's school have done it. Yeah, so I know quite a bit about it. Even
yeah.
some cousins have done it. I
Yeah.
haven't, but
Wow.
yeah.
And when you say they have done it, have they done the whole route or parts of it?
Um, well, I know a couple who have done the whole route. I have cousins who keep going back. I have two friends who have been doing it. One of them's still doing it now. In fact, one of them's part of Female Wave of Change, and she's just been doing the Camino, and then she went to Portugal and France, and I think she's back doing it, but now she's in Vietnam. So
Wow.
yeah,
So
It's
I
interesting.
get
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
get
met,
to
yeah,
share. Yeah.
yeah. I met a lovely couple from Melbourne when I was out doing actually one of the most ugly parts. And that's an interesting one. There's one part literally, which is industrial sites. It was raining. It was in Gijon. I'm in the middle of my walk, I think after 3 weeks. And it was miserable. I got lost actually. And I thought, okay, where do I start today? It was quite a long walk as well. I thought, okay, shape up, get yourself a coffee. And then I met this lovely couple from Australia. And they happened to be in the same hotel as me. So that's nice. And we had the same pace. But that's another thing. What I liked is you can be by yourself if you want to, but if you want to chat to someone or make a connection, you can as well. And it's very nice. I always ask people, would you like to walk or would you like to walk by yourself? And then some people stay longer for coffee, or so you can dip in and dip out, which I think is quite nice. So it didn't felt like you're all the way by yourself. I had some days because there was nobody around me, different timings. But if you wanted, I've met some really lovely people, some people for just a few weeks. The Australians happen to do the whole way. And I like what you say, Clara. It's, dare I say, addictive. So they had done the Portuguese 2 years ago, that Australian couple, and they came back to do the French, but then they couldn't get any hotels because it was so busy. They don't do auberge, and they by accident happened to do the northern one. So lucky me, I met them. But yeah, I was also part of a WhatsApp group. So some people started with each other, and some people. I took some rest days in Bilbao. I had a friend visiting, so I didn't do it. I wasn't walking 5 weeks in a row, if that makes sense. I did have a break day, and I thought, I'm here now. I also want to enjoy. But I was part of Camino del Norte, as they call it, because it was sometimes quite steep. But that guy has done about 5 Caminos. So there are people somehow drawn back on the Camino or do another Camino. It's a camaraderie, but some people have also that they need a reset. I like what one guy said he wanted a reset every year.
Yeah.
And then that's a nice way. I felt reset, and I found it a nice way of saying it, a reset in life. And let's be honest, I could do it. I could be away for 5 weeks. Would I do it tomorrow again? No. I would like to do the Primitivo, which is 300K, but it's all mountains. And my main challenge will be I have to be in an auberge. So that will be, if I want to do it, that's going to be my main challenge, I think, sleeping communal. But yeah, I can see. So people make friendship for life. I don't, well, I've got a few contacts. You always have to see what happens, but it's quite interesting. I can see why people are drawn to do another one or do the same one again. Because it's a very simple way of, I had 9 kilos with me. I didn't need to think about what to wear. You knew what to do in a day. It's a very simple way of living for a while. And back from the noise, from the news. I didn't walk with headphones. And funny enough, most people around me did not. People I saw on the French way, and I was thinking, is that music or noise cancelling? Because that's the thing. It sounds awful. When I was walking early in the morning, the amount of chatter around me, I found really not bad. It's not the right term. I wanted to be away from it, so I really speeded up. Like I'm here to enjoy the forest. I don't want to hear everybody's chatter. So that's quite interesting because you're so used to be with yourself and nature. And I did chat, but then I said there was nobody around me or there were hardly any people. So it's interesting what it does to you when you suddenly come back and then you're surrounded with more walkers around. Yeah, interesting.
Nicolette, I'm in question, and I really like to open also the floor to the others. Because you mentioned in the beginning, I didn't do it for a special reason, I didn't
No.
have something, and it was for you, it was not a pilgrimage. Well, I think a pilgrimage nowadays has another meaning than what it had before, I think there are few people who really do it because of their religious background. But you did have, a couple of years. You mentioned about your parents who both passed, and there's also things what happened with your husband. I think there was a moment that you feel like, me personally, I need this moment.
Yeah,
I
that's
need
interesting.
this now
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't know exactly what is going to happen, and I'm not doing it for, the religious reasons. But when I listen to you, what you have experienced there, it is almost spiritual. It is
Oh,
almost
definitely.
religious, because it is physically, mentally, mindset. A lot happened.
I do 100% agree. And the funny thing is, I planned this walk before the issues will happen with my husband, to be
Yeah.
fair. And when I actually arrived in San Sebastian, I had one day off, which was nice because it was 34 degrees. I thought, oh gosh, I'm starting walking. But anyway, I was lucky I did not have to. But what I was actually really looking forward to, and I'm not sure if I said that in the beginning, was actually me time, just be with myself. And I've been caring a lot. In my job, I listen to a lot of people. Well, actually, that is my role. I have to listen and then make sure that I ask the right questions and listen even more. And actually, one of the things I hoped to get out of it, and I should have said that from the start, it's maybe a bit of a light bulb moment. What else do I want to do in life? And I don't have that. And that's funny enough. I had some ideas. I talked with a very nice young lady from Philadelphia. So the things I talk about, if you put things together, I probably have a bit of an idea. I really like doing things with my hands. So I'm working in the bakery, as you know, as a volunteer. So I want to do less listening and creating more. That's basically what I want, but I'm not sure in what form. And also, I am, as Patty said, I'm happily retired. My husband had to retire because of all the, well, stress, basically, and then with his health on top. And I think I also feel that I have to adjust to a new life, even though I want to work more. But yeah, so that was a bit also the thinking time from how is my life going to look in my third act. That makes sense. And the funny thing is, I thought, because if you talk about grief, my parents were probably, this is what they would have wanted, not the way they went, but almost together. And if I look at my friends with older parents, it's not getting always nicer. And I know that my mom would have a really bad time in a dementia home. So in a way, I feel bad. So I feel sad about it, but not bad, if that makes sense, that I'm not sad. I'm actually, the way when I thought about my dad, it made me actually feel happy. Like I've got nice memories. And some people have like 5 years of caring and a really hard time. And I never had that. And another thing, is a little anecdote. My mom had a stone lion in her garden. I think it was big ugly, but she loved it. And it was stolen one day. And anyway, she always went on and on about it. And I always said, Mom, one day you'll get your lion, or we will sort out a lion. Never did. But when I was walking and I was in Bilbao, and I said to my friend, I said, I see everywhere lions, in iron, in buildings. And so Nick got now every day, seriously, every day he got a flower and a lion. Everywhere I saw lions, it was like, and all the time it was a different one. One was with wings, one was like a big one, or a small one behind a window, a porcelain thing. And the same here. Since I'm back, I see everywhere lions. It's so funny. So, and then I always thought about my mom in a nice way.
It's your mom talking, I think.
Yeah, it's very funny. Like in Oliver Bonas, it's an English shop. So the new trend is having like coasters with lions on it. So we were in town and see again a lion. So it's very interesting. And that made me think about my mom. And the day I did not see a lion was on the 2nd of October, when the day was about my dad. So it was very funny to actually
Days for your dad.
yeah.
Instead of this, yeah. Oh, wonderful.
And I was on a walk. So another thing I took away from it, I was on a walk with a friend with a dog here in the Downs in the UK. And she was in a chatty mood. And I said, well, look at the view. Oh, have you seen that? Oh, look at the beautiful fungus there. So I look also in a different way now when I walk. That's quite interesting and more appreciative. And I'm also, can I say, more appreciative about the UK walking. There's another thing that people, and I'm sorry to take away this romantic view, but walking a Camino is 60 to 70% on tarmac, on the road. So it's not only beautiful coastal paths, which actually you have in the UK, and a lot of people don't know or don't realize, but yeah, so I was actually wearing hiking boots, and actually I should have had hiking boots and trail boots to actually for the amount of time you walk on the road. And that's when it rains, you're very happy to walk on the road, but sometimes if it's a whole day, it's really tiring. Yeah, so that's interesting. And the same is with the French one. Apart from Portugal, you can do the whole thing along the coast, but you never actually hear people about that. So it made me also appreciate actually where I live and the walking I can do here. So
yeah. Well, bottom line, I think you learned a lot, or you picked up a lot on that journey. So welcome, Lily, by the way. She joined us.
Hi, Lily.
Anyone else who has a question? Jessica, you know Nicolette.
Yeah.
Is this something you feel that it didn't surprise you, or did
No,
surprise you that she
no. This is so Nicolette. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Always pushing herself beyond comfort zone and challenges, and particularly physically. So no, this didn't come out as a surprise. So no. And I totally understand what she said about having given a lot and cared for people a lot, and giving and paying attention to people in a job as well. You give, but then what about you? You need to recharge, you need to refuel, and that's it sounds like that's been very successful this trip.
Thank you,
very
Jessica.
interesting to see what you're going to be. You know, I actually see you move to the Shetland Islands and start a knitting factory or something, but somewhere more quiet and with your hands, and different than what maybe you thought you were going to be doing. I know that years and years ago you spoke about maybe a bed and breakfast in Spain. I don't know if I'm for some reason I'm not seeing that anymore.
It's funny, there's a book by a Dutch lady, Anna Visser. It's called My Auberge on the Camino, and that's actually on the northern route. And I've been in contact, but not to stay there, but to see her. But she was at the garage that day. And I had about 3 pilgrims I walked with, sending them there. You have to go there, you have to go there. And they said it was one of the best auberges, amazing. And So she walked the Portuguese after her other half died. And then she came back to the Netherlands. She lived in Spain as a child before. And then she just Googled auberges for sale. And then she ended up buying an auberge. And
Okay.
and
Yeah.
then she met a guy, a Belgian guy, a year later, I think, who walked the Camino. And there was that click. And to cut a long story short, he's now running the auberge with her. And what is really nice, which that's the only auberge who did that. But in the UK here, it's around Cuckmore. You've got very lovely little churches. You can do a little pilgrimage around, and they have a pot, which is quite nice. It's like a terracotta pot, and you can actually drop a wish in there for someone else. So you can. It's a bit like you pick one and you read it, and it's for you personally. Which I love doing. So I walked it with Nick. So we put some of them and we took some out. And this lady Anna, every morning the pilgrim tent came for the communal breakfast. Everyone found a little note on their plate.
Yeah.
And some people wrote back to her like a year afterward. This is what I actually got as a card, or this was a bit like my sign for doing things different, or this was my sign to start doing something new. Anyway, it was quite, yeah, I like that. So you wish for someone else, and you can take a wish from someone, which is nice. Yeah.
Special experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, and some people, as I said, yeah, and that's one. I think it was a Spanish guy I walked with, and that he was a very shy guy. And I was in one auberge where I had a private room, and I cooked my vegetables. There's not many vegetables on the Spanish coast, I can tell you, apart from tortilla. And then I had so much food, so he joined in with my meal, and then I practiced a bit of my Spanish. And then days later, I came across him, and he was always very much in a hurry. So sometimes he just said hello and he passed, and then actually, because it was a very quiet part of the, and he said, would you like to walk together? I said, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so he was from Valencia, and he walked the main reason to have a reset. Yeah, his friends were all like, why are you walking? They couldn't see the point. And he said, well, you just have to do it and find out why walking is healing, actually.
It is. Yeah.
And some people say you have to stand still I'd say, I say it in Dutch, je kunt niet bijtanken zonder stil te staan. So that's in the English version. So you can't...
fill your cup without...
standing still.
Standing still, yeah.
Yeah, but for me that's also a bit like if you're so full of thoughts and worries, then you can't actually reload. It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
You need to get grounded. And I think this walking, because there's nothing else you can do, there's nothing else you can worry about. The only thing you worry about is it dry tomorrow or not. And then we all found out that weather forecast in the north of Spain, forget it. Just make sure that your wet weather gear is on top of your backpack, and off you go. And if it rains, you take it as it is. So it's, yeah, and then that simplicity. And of course, I'm now in the UK where after the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Night, it's all going to be Christmas. And it's like, oh, yeah, all the Christmas and everything so much. It's like, yeah. So we always try to stay away from it, but then it actually hits you almost harder. Like, oh my goodness, all this, we don't need all this stuff and things. And yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been back, actually, funny enough, I live quite close to the South Downs, but I literally walked from my house to the parks to Lewis, and then took the train back, 22k. I thought, gosh, why didn't I never do this? But of course, I always thought, oh, it's too far. And now I know nothing is too far.
It's one of the things, and I love to talk about that part as well. You know, how do you prepare for a trip like this? And you know, because I was following you on Polar Steps, I saw the distances that you walk.
Yeah.
That is amazing. You know, for me, that's almost impossible. And then the last day, you know, when you have already walked,
that was amazing,
750 kilometers or even more. And then, you know, there's 2 days of about 200 kilometers, 20 kilometers. And then you feel, okay, so Nick has already arrived in Santiago. I can walk for 2 days, 20 kilometers, or I can just do it in 1 day. I felt like, oh gosh, you know, at the end of the route, you're just just going to do 40 kilometers on
Yes,
Friday.
yeah, that's me. Jessica knows that's me. No, but also, so how do you prepare? So basically, and I would do it different, but I had it all set out. So Nick knew exactly when I would arrive in Santiago. And I thought I didn't know how my body would respond. So what I did was, when I arrived, I had a rest day in San Sebastian for 5 days. And I arrived in Bilbao, and a friend of mine was there. So I had 2 days off. I had a day off in Santander and Gijón. And then the last one, which was planned, but I could have done without. Because you get in a rhythm, and let's step back. How did I prepare? So I went 4 days in June, beginning of June. I did the English pilgrimage, which is from Reading to Southampton, where the pilgrimage took the boat to A Coruña, and that's the English way to Santiago. I can still do that bit if I want to, because I have stamps from the little churches here in the UK. And I went on my own, and I booked 3 nights. And the first day I arrived, and in the end of the day it rained. And then the next day, and I stayed in an Airbnb, I walked 38k in the rain in the UK. It was awful. But I, of course, was testing my kids, and I thought, can I do this with my backpack? I arrived at a hotel, very English, with everywhere carpet. I thought, oh gosh, I'm drooping here like a soaking cat. But funny enough, there's a meal in the end, you've got a shower. And I thought, okay, if I can do this, I can do anything. So that was actually, can I be really honest, a mindset. And then the next day, it was really like humid and hot. It was awful again. And then when I just got in the train back from Southampton, it was really, really bad weather. So yeah, so I had actually 4 seasons in 4 days. And I also wanted to test how much can I carry? Do I actually have everything I need? So I felt prepared for that. And I live, as I told you, at the downs. So the up and downs, because the northern route is quite up and down. I actually practiced once a week. I went for a walk in the downs. And that's all I did.
Wow.
And then coming back the last day, I told you that our route merged. And I also thought, am I going to walk 2 days with loads of people around me? And then I arrived if I went early, I arrived sometimes at 1 o'clock. And it sounds a bit strange, but then what are you going to do the rest of the day? You have your lunch, and then you are on your own in a hotel room. It's not always fun. Let's face it. I mean, it sounds all nice, guys, but and I met lovely people and I had lovely dinners, but I've also had times I was just on my own in a hotel room. And specifically, the uncomfortableness comes when people walk and you have your day off, which was lovely. I had a massage, and my feet, specifically in Gijón, I was really exhausted. But then you're also the whole day by yourself. And that's why a lot of people, I ask people, do you take rest? No, we find that too uncomfortable. So that's interesting, because then you literally stand still, you don't walk. What are you going to do with yourself? You're sitting in a restaurant by yourself. And then it's actually a bit awkward in Spain, because it's all about family and friends. Seeing this old woman sitting in the corner reading on a Kindle. I was quite happy, but sometimes it felt very uncomfortable. That's quite interesting. But anyway, I thought 39.5k, almost 40k, I can do it. And I knew it was through the forest. It was not hilly, so I have to be honest on that one. So I left 7:15 with one of those torches on my head. And I already came across 20 people in the forest, and I thought, just move on. And then, yeah. And I knew that Nick was there, and it's ending. So you have some adrenaline as well, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask some of the others. Patty, would you ever consider maybe not something like this, but something to ground, reset?
Yes, I think it sounds wonderful. I've read a book on it a long time ago. One of my authors, her name escapes me now. She wrote a whole book on doing it. And I do like your idea about having the hotel and the bathroom. That was like one thing at my age now, but I think it would be marvelous. And that's what I'm put into my schedule right now, just walks. And I like the idea of not wearing headphones. So that's what I'm going to do, because usually I just listen to my book and stuff. But every day I'm walking a little bit just to hear, which is not the big, but I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
And I think it would be very, very wonderful to do, but I don't know if I'm quite up to it yet, but we'll see in 2 years.
It's funny, Patty. Yeah, I met two Dutch guys who were tipping in a week and out, and one of them was he called himself a trolley pilgrim. So he had his stuff moved, and the other guy was wearing for the first time his backpack. He said it does add something special to carry your own bag. And then they called themselves actually the culinary pilgrims because food was always important, and every time they moved, they always ended up in Bilbao or San Sebastian. So at the end, they knew they had good food. So yeah, everybody does it their way. And funny is to say about the hotel, people who are in auberges also sometimes, as one of the Aussies said, like I can be a starfish again. I can actually spread out because when you're in a bunk bed and you can't actually open your backpack because then you're almost in someone else's way. So that's what some people do. They do like 3-4 nights at auberge and then they have 1 night in a hotel. So everybody does it on their way. And in hindsight, maybe I could have done that, but and even though I had hotels, you move every day, so you still don't sleep perfect. But to have your own bathroom, I can tell you, that's quite nice.
That's nice, yeah. Well, we have a friend who did the northern part and the one from Portugal
All
with
right.
his tent and cooking on the way. So
Whoa.
else, nothing, and maybe, 1 or 2 on the way. But he was actually, every night he was just camping. Because yeah, that's the way. And the fun part is that after the second one, he bought a hostel in Portugal. So now, and yes, he did, and that is what, for instance, and that is, I follow a young woman on Instagram. She's actually from Australia, Clara, but she's doing the Hexa Trek in France. That is 3,000 kilometers. And that is, there's you see short videos every day, and there's there's not everywhere there's a path, or there's just small pieces that you see where it is, and that there are signs, but it's really going through anyhow, the hills, the mountains, the forests. It's really amazing that she's doing.
It's interesting to say that, Ingen, because we had, of course, the Salt Path. We had the book from David Nichols, You Are Here. That's from you can cross the UK from the Irish Sea to the North Sea. There's so many hiking paths, but it's almost a bit like now everybody's hiking. It's a bit like almost you don't know hardly know anyone who hasn't been doing a certain trail.
Well, I haven't.
No, but I mean in general, you hear more. And then I
We
thought,
listen to your stories. We listen to your story. Lily, have you ever done something like this? And I know you're very, very busy with your business and it's exploding. So probably not
No,
taking the time,
I
but
haven't. So it's my sister when she turned 60, she did the Santiago way, and they made something like with hostels and hotel every now and then. But when I turned 60, there was just no time, lots of stuff with my family. So I think I would do that. But I can't stay away so much from my family. So the only really wonderful experience I had, and this is, let's say 20 years ago, something like that. I was feeling bad, so I was not ill, but I knew I should recover. And I thought if I go to something of these, how do you say that? It's not a clinic, but where you, retreat, yeah. If I go there, there's people who want to talk to me or who want to do therapy with me. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Don't talk to me.
So I went to an isle in northern Germany where no cars and nothing. It's only you can go by foot or by bicycle and so. And I stayed there for 2 weeks, and it was wonderful. And you know that I've been food, how do you say, dependent. So I had eating disorders as a young woman, and I always ate sweets. And when I went there, I said, "Oh dear, how would that be? Me on my own, I would eat chocolate all day long." And it was the contrary, because I collected no, herbs, and I ate nice food, nice bread with butter and herbs. And I went to the beach every day and just walked around in this area where it's nature poor. I began to sing to the ocean and did all these things, these crazy things that when nobody's there, you can do them. And I love that, and I would like to repeat that. It's
Good.
just that at the moment, I
Put it
can't
on
do
your
it.
list, the to-do
It's
list
on my
for your
list.
future.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I don't always have the time, but like this morning, I live quite close to the beach. At least every day, have a little walk, even if it's like half an hour, but to get out of the house, for me, that's so important.
Yeah. I did that for 2 weeks in Sardinia. I'm back for two days from there.
Oh, wow.
But here I'm in the middle in Berlin, and to walk here is just I know I have to do these paces, steps. How many?
Yeah.
5,000 steps. I can't do that. But when I'm at the beach or in nature, I do that deliberately because I just love it. And well, my goal is to live in a place where I can do that every day, because it's when I'm in our garden and I see the sun rise or the sun goes down, I just step outside and walk through the wood to watch the moon or the sun.
Yeah.
And here in Berlin, it's not as nice.
It helps to have a dog, you need to.
Yeah.
You
I
really
don't.
need to,
I
now.
have 2 cats and they sleep on my
Yeah,
lap.
no, I really need to walk the dog 4 times a day. So then
Oh, yeah.
you
But
would make
also,
you have your
but
steps.
I also notice that I get irritated if I'm not been out, and
Yeah.
my mind, as I said, like I'm quite a busy person in my head, that it really it slows you down. And I
I'm
think
sure.
I also posted on LinkedIn, everybody can walk step by step, and some people take longer, some people are faster, and that's one thing. I've become less judgmental because I feel like, why have you not carrying your backpack or this that? I mean, everybody does it their way, and also people do it their way regarding distances.
That's wonderful.
Clara, how about you? This silence and just being on your own. I always say I love my own company. I can be on my own very well. How about you?
I've spent quite a bit of time on my own. My husband works FIFO, or fly in, fly out, or DIDO, which is drive in, drive out. So he works away. The current shift is 10 days away and 4 days home. So I spend quite a bit of time on my own. I also live quite close to the beach, so I do walk and meditate on the beach a lot. So yeah, not a
Wonderful.
not a problem for me.
Yeah, how about you, Jessica? And I love Philip and Sam, but I don't see you. Maybe you can share something in the chat. That would really be great. But how about you, Jessica?
No, love being on my own. I like you. I like my own company a lot. But I do also like the silence. My husband and I just spent a week in the UK in Devon, and we had a little cottage in the middle of absolutely nowhere. So there was no sound. It was pitch dark at night. It was just gorgeous, but I cannot do that for too long, and then I want to go back into the world with a little bit of noise, but where I can go to either the beach or the woods or outside, absolutely. But yeah, I quite like being by myself. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and that helps, and I can imagine, Nicolette, what you say, you're always busy in your head. It is so nice for instance, my husband is gone now for 2 weeks. He's in Africa. So I just love it to be in the house on my own, and that my girls, they feel that they need to visit me. And I say, you don't need to visit me, I am on my own, and I just love it. I will visit them and I will do things with other people, but just the fact that there is no one around who constantly during the day asks you, what are you doing? When are we going to do this? What are we going to do? What do you want for dinner? It's just, sometimes it feels that it's constantly. And then I see you walk for 5 weeks, and then I think, oh, this is so nice, all this nature, and I just cannot walk for such a long time. But
You can cycle it as well if you like.
oh, that would be better. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be better.
Yeah, you can cycle. That's what a lot of people, also on e-bikes, but quite a few people, not as much on the northern route because you have to go quite often around the steep bit. I think the French route is more suitable for that. But it's interesting because I actually have learned to be happy in my own company since moving here. Because of course I had to start from scratch, and Nick was very busy with his job. So I think I've actually learned to be, and it's funny if I sometimes ask people, oh, but I've never been on a walk by myself. Would you go on your own on the downs? Is that not scary? Were you not scared? Someone asked even, are you taking a pepper spray when you walk? I said,
Yeah.
what? So it's just a bit of that concept, like something can happen or no. Out there. It's a bit of a different mindset, I think. But yeah, to be happy, my mom always said, if you can't be happy with yourself, how can you be happy with someone else? So that's, I think, one of the golden rules which stick with me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's for everyone. It is good to have those moments of nothing and just
Well, what
relax.
Clara says, just go to the beach, have a meditate. And meditate can also be just sitting on the bench looking at the sea. It doesn't need to be, some people make it very complicated, but just have some silence. No distractions of podcast, music, chatting. Just be.
Yeah, absolutely. Any final words from anyone?
I could just share about this being afraid of being alone. I did this interrail trip at 20, and this is still remaining one of my best rememberings because I stayed 4 weeks in trains in whole Europe until Pamplona and down to Portugal. I never found a hostel, so I slept in trains, in stations. I slept at people who invited me. People lent me their some stuff I needed, and afterwards I went to give them back. So I realized that everywhere there are people who help you even in difficult situations. And this is still in my mind, that everywhere the people want to help you and are nice and friendly. So I can understand. I would like to repeat that later, later on at 80 maybe.
80.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. We all want to see or to believe that the world is angry in this, but in the end of the day, it's people are always there to help you wherever you are. Thank you for sharing. I 100% agree.
Yes.
I do want to say thank you, Nicolette. This has really motivated me because I'm starting my new journey this week. My sister's left, and my mom's actually left for a couple weeks too. So I understand, Inga, what you're saying. It's like, oh, I've got the house to myself. It was beautiful having my sister, but it's so nice to have the house to myself. And I'm really getting into walking more, and I have it on my thing. So even though I can't do that right now, but I'm going to walk every day. I put it in my planner just to walk and just to be in nature. And
as I say,
and you motivated me.
Yeah, you start small and enjoy. As I said, like whatever we do. And I think that's one of the main things. Ingo, thank you, by the way, very much for inviting me and to have a chat about this. But I think the most important is do what feels best, but most important, feel good about yourself, whatever you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you all for being here, and well, first of all, Nicolette, of course, for sharing your story, and all the others for participating in the conversation. Thank you for that, and I hope you all take something out of it. And we have some sessions like this We will do every first Tuesday of the month. And this was the first time, so that was good. And we already have quite some interesting speakers lined up. So I hope you will join next time as well. So thank you
Thank you.
all for being
you.
here, and have a wonderful evening.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.